When it comes to NBA fans over the past decade, there is always one debate and one topic that gets everyone heated. That being, who is the greatest player of all time? Everyone has their take, their angle, their perspective, and it doesn't matter if you're 25 or 75. And when it comes to current day NBA players, they're always very vocal about who the GOAT is, and the most recent player to speak out was indeed SGA, who in the following clip will give you guys his GOAT and his opinion on KD and who is the most skilled player in NBA history.
Kobe is Michael Jordan, just on steroids. You're talking about skills. What are you talking about? I'm talking about best player. Kobe has 5 rings. What's your argument? All around. And I'm saying all around, Kobe Bryant. Bro, it's LeBron. Okay. No. If we're talking about skill, KD's 4th. Nah, I ain't gonna lie. Skill alone, KD's 1st. KD is 7 feet and can do everything Steph Curry can do. Come on, man. There's nothing you can't. Come on, boy. Competitive nature, championship. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Jordan is 3rd because it's documentary. If LeBron dropped the documentary today, you'd say LeBron's the GOAT.
Bron's still second. Bron's still second. Kobe 1, Bron 2, Mike 3.
Now look, that video was loaded with awful takes, but I will say one thing in his defense. When you're debating top 10, top 15 players, you're really splitting hairs and nitpicking every slight and every difference. And looking at his top 3, he had Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan. Definitely a pretty weird order, but looking at the top 3 most fans would say, those 3 guys are the 3 best players in NBA history. And looking at SGA's first claim, he said Kobe, quote, was MJ on steroids. Now I'm sure everyone knows Kobe and MJ, offensively and defensively, they're definitely very similar. And from a skill perspective, I wouldn't say one guy has a drastic advantage over the other. Me personally, I'd take Jordan, but if you want to argue Kobe's more skilled, I could definitely see that. Where I push back on is saying he's MJ on steroids. As looking at prime Kobe, it is absolute peak from 01 to 2013. He averaged 28.1 points per game, 5.7 boards, 5.2 assists on 45, 34, and 84 splits. When it came to scoring the basketball, this version of Kobe was by far the best in the game, having 491 30-point games, the most in the NBA, 132 40-point games, also the most, 25 50-point games, again the most, and 5 60-point games, also the most in the NBA. And when Kobe was at his best, he won 1 MVP, 2 scoring titles, 2 Finals MVPs, was 12-time All-Defensive, and maxed out at 35.4 points per game in 2006. Undoubtedly a top 10 resume, one of the best players in NBA history. But compared to Jordan, Kobe at his best comes up a little bit short. As prime MJ, from 87 to 98 was simply absurd, averaging 32 points, 6.3 boards, 5.4 assists on 51, 34, and 84 splits. His overall numbers in his prime were definitely better than Kobe's, and his accolades clear him, winning 5 MVPs, 6 Finals MVPs, being 10-time All-Defensive, and a 10-time scoring champ. And going more in depth, MJ for 7 straight years averaged 30 points per game, making an All-Defensive team every single year. And from 1988 to 92, he was averaging 30 points per game on above 50% shooting, once again while making All-Defensive first teams. And at his absolute peak, he averaged 37.1 points per game in 87, and the following year 35 points per game while winning MVP as Wolves Defensive Player of the Year. I want to be very clear in saying this, Kobe vs MJ is a fun debate, and Kobe's resume once again is Hall of Fame worthy and definitely top 5 in my personal book. But compared to Mike, he was simply more accomplished, better at his peak, he was a better scorer, better passer, better rebounder, he was more efficient, and during his entire prime, he was unquestionably the best player in the NBA. And when debating players like Kobe vs MJ, what you have to do is look at their highs as well as their lows. And when it comes to Kobe, he has much more lows than Jordan. As in the 04 Finals vs Detroit, he was simply dreadful, shooting 38% and losing in 5, and costing his team an NBA championship. The following year in 2005, his team missed the playoffs, going 34-48, something Jordan never did while in Chicago. In 2006 versus the Suns, he blew a 3-1 lead, and in 2007 lost that same Suns team in 5 games. Even looking at 2008 in the finals, he got bounced in 6, getting embarrassed by 40+ points in that Game 6. And looking at 2011 versus the Dallas Mavericks, as the favorite, Kobe's team was swept in that series. You could even look at 2012, 2013, where his team underperformed with adequate help. I'm not here to bash Kobe or downplay him, but looking at his resume compared to Jordan, there's definitely more holes and more flaws in it. And before you guys say it, yes, Jordan in his career, he did lose in the NBA playoffs, and was not always victorious. But the one thing for Jordan that is different, not just compared to Kobe, but really every player ever, in his playoff resume, he had no drastically bad series where he choked the entire time. Yes, he had down moments, down games, but for an entire series, he never blew it or choked like Kobe in 2004 or LeBron in 2011. When ranking players all time, having a bad series or choking definitely matters and have a huge impact where you're ranked historically. And one thing SGA did that I found pretty odd, when debating Kobe vs. Jordan, he brought up Kobe having 5 championships. Now, this is a very weird argument because Jordan has 6 championships and 6 MVPs, compared to Kobe, who has 5 rings and 2 MVPs. I don't know where he was going with this, if he was confused, but debating Kobe vs. Jordan and their championships is not going to go well for SGA and his overall argument. As looking at Jordan in the NBA Finals, he was damn near perfect, averaging 34 points, 6.0 boards, 6.0 assists on 48, 37, and 81 splits. At his best in the finals, he was averaging 41 versus the Suns, 11 assists versus the Lakers, and shooting 43% from 3 versus the Blazers. And most importantly, Jordan in the NBA Finals never averaged less than 27 points per game, and not once went to a Game 7. And a common theme for Jordan vs. Kobe, you have to remember both these players are all-time greats, and Kobe's resume is still highly impressive, but compared to Jordan, it simply does not measure up. As Kobe in the finals averaged 25 points per game, 6 boards, 5 assists, on 41, 31, and 85 splits. I would say his best overall series was in 2009, where he won his first Finals MVP, averaging 32 points per game. So SGA's overall point of saying Kobe has 5 rings, when compared to Jordan, really makes no sense. If he compared him to LeBron, who only has 4 rings, maybe then it would make more sense, but even that is still suspect. And looking past the GOAT debate and Jordan vs. Kobe, SGA had some pretty controversial takes regarding Kevin Durant, as will Steph Curry.
KD's 4th.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, skill alone, KD's 1st. KD is 7 feet, I can do everything Steph Curry can do. Come on.
That is a very, very bold claim with little evidence or facts to back it up. As Steph Curry compared to Kevin Durant has better handles, he's a better pick and roll player, he's way better off ball, he's a more creative finisher, he's easily a better leader, he's definitely more valuable, and he's clearly the better 3-point shooter. Kevin Durant clearly is a very talented offensive player and definitely top 10 in that category. But saying he can do everything Steph Curry does is simply false. And 2 more things he said that really struck me was Kevin Durant's competitive nature and his championships. Think about that for 1 second. Competitive nature and championships. That completely ignores Kevin Durant going to Steph Curry for his 2 championships in the least competitive way possible after 2016. And for the 1000th time, Steph Curry won before KD, he won with him, as was after him. And saying Durant is the most skilled player of all time also is incorrect. As the last time I checked, defense also is a skill. And people like Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, even Hakeem, who is a big man, destroy Kevin Durant with defensive skills. And I want to remind you guys once again, because it is very important, defense still is half the game. And don't be brainwashed by people online talking about skill as purely an offensive trait. Do not be fooled by that. Having skill isn't just handles and shooting, it's also playing defense, communicating, having help, getting the passing lanes. Defensive skill, even in 2022, is still just as important as offensive skill. Now, the last thing I do want to address is one of SGA's campers saying Jordan is third all time solely because of The Last Dance and that documentary.
Jordan is third because of his documentary. If LeBron dropped the documentary today, you'd say LeBron's the goal.
This right here is a Twitter opinion 101 and is a classic mindset of basketball started when I began watching. I'm definitely not some old head or guy who's 85 years old and seen everyone, but I am old to know basketball was around before I came along. And when it comes to Jordan and him being the GOAT, people called him that before The Last Dance. You can ask players, fans, media members. Before The Last Dance, Michael Jordan was universally recognized as the greatest player in NBA history. And if you think that one documentary has more impact than Jordan winning 6 championships, MVPs, having clutch time games, you're simply delusional. Now, with that last point being said, that is the end of the video. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Was SGA correct? Am I out of bounds? Am I correct? Who's more skilled, KD or Curry? And who do you have as the greatest player in NBA history? As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.